Hey guys, I hope you guys are well. I'm going to do a book review on the book called Credence by Penelope Douglas. This is a very controversial book. I've read this book. It's around 500 pages. It's got the blurb here. And I'm just gonna tell you quickly what the plot is about. It's about this main character called Tianan. She's really like she come from a really wealthy family. Her parents, I'm pretty sure, are actresses and film directors, and they taken their own life because they passed away. They taken their own life because the father had cancer, and essentially the mom couldn't live without. They couldn't live without each other. So they passed away. Um they took their own life and leaving with only Tiana, the only child, and she's 17 by the way. So she it really does talk like kind of somewhat her grief, but leaving only her to with no guardian. So basically what they did is she has to live with her step uncle and her step cousin, and it's in the state of Colorado. And then she starts her own little life, and this is until she turns, because she's still under 18, because she's 17, she essentially needs her own guardian. So she chose to live with her step family because she really has no one in LA, in Los Angeles, in California. So she decided to, because after her parents passed away, she really thought, well, she didn't have anything to lose. So she decided to live with her step family in the state of Colorado. And that's basically what is happening. That's the plot. That is what's happening, and then we'll see what happens. The book tells what happens when she lives with the family. In the step family, her uncle's name is Jake, and then she's got Jake has two sons, so her step cousins, which are basically the eldest being Caleb, and the second one being Noah. Um, in terms of rating, I would just say I would give this a 4 star out of 5. I know this book is controversial. I know this is not very much well liked by many readers, but honestly, I really enjoyed reading this. I enjoyed reading about the settings in Colorado. It looks so good. I loved how Penelope Douglas really described Colorado. It was completely different to like the sea life, and if you like me or like enjoy nature, like the forest, it really had the winter atmosphere, like the animals, because the step family with Jake, it's called, the surname is Vanderberg. Apologize if I pronounce it wrong. They have their farm. They got their animals like horses, cows, chickens. So it's really like a full on like rural natural vibe. Atmosphere. I do apologize. Needs to focus a bit more the camera. I really like that. And also she kind of in my opinion, I don't think I really didn't like the fact that she ended up with someone I really didn't like, and I don't really like him. He assaulted her, and I'm not like, and also there was no connection with the guy that she ended up with. So I didn't really understand. I feel like the author just put that in because just to for the plot, but honestly there was no connection. There was no she ended up, she liked him toward the end of the book, like literally I think like 300 to 400 pages in, and like it's almost the end of the book. So I really feel like she should have, in my opinion, should have dated any of the other two, but just not the one that she ended up with, because she at least had more connection with them. She spent more time with them. And bear in mind, guys, I don't know why people saying this is incest. There's literally no blood relation ever. They're literally step family, and on top of that, they relate. Jake is Tianan's step uncle, and Tianan's father and Jake, so essentially the stepbrothers, they are estranged. Jake doesn't get along with Tianan's father. He doesn't hold any grudge towards Tianan, but well, not as much as, but like they're estranged anyway. Jake doesn't really like to have any association with Tianan's parents because of what they did. So they don't. And even in the beginning of the book, Jake, they said, I'm not really your uncle anyway, you could call me Jake. And this was before any of the connection, any of any of the relationships started happening. This was way before. So honestly, right from the beginning when Jake was introduced, I didn't see him as an uncle at all. Like there was some like familiar bond in the fact that they were there for each other and they really did care about Tianan. But I didn't really see him as an uncle. I didn't really see them like cousin, step cousin, maybe like step cousins, but like step and it's kind of hard. She has no family. She really has to see them as somewhat of family. But it's quite controversial. I'm not agreeing with this, but I don't agree with the fact that I was a bit upset the fact that she ended up with the character that I didn't really want her to end up with, because I didn't like his character, but in the book he was definitely described as attractive. Then maybe that's why. But they were all considered quite attractive. But I guess the person that she ended up with was the most attractive one. Maybe that's why Penelope Douglas put Tina on with this character. But I was like, there was no connection at all. Where was the love? I was so confused when she suddenly fell in love with that character. I was like, where was the connection? They barely spent time with each other. Who was most of the time hunting? He was barely there. So that was the one bit I didn't really like. There was a lot of intense scenes, which was a bit too much for me as well. So in this book, like I guess the trope will be like spies. It was not my. It was just too much for me. I didn't really like it. I don't really enjoy it. Like it needs to be done right, and it was just felt like it was forced in the book. So it was one of the other thing I didn't really like. They I like Noah, I like Jake. I think Jake was like incredibly in my opinion, like he really brought Tianan out of her shell. He was personally the reason why like Tianan really grew as a person. Um yeah, so I just feel like Jake needs to be more credited in the book. Like I feel like towards the end when Tianan fell in love with the person I didn't really like, I feel like Jake just became more of a father figure. He kind of changed his role from the early on to a potential partner to just a father figure. And I don't know, I personally didn't like that because I didn't want him to be a father figure. I wanted more like him to be a closer brother to Tianan. But I really liked his character. He was so honest. He was so like he really did wanted the best for Tianan. And for those that are saying he was grooming, like he did admit in the book that he didn't want it to be a thing, even though he did have feelings for her. He didn't want it to be an actual relationship because he knew it wouldn't do any just. And not that it gives it any excuse, but he I don't really think he actually groomed her. He did kept his distance to a certain extent, like he really did. But like and also Tianan wanted this, and this was after she turned 18. She wanted this. And basically, by the way, they did the things that they did after Tianan turned 18. And people are like, oh, well, she's borderline, she's groomed, she needs care. But like, they were all like, yeah, but she, that's true, but they all needed care. Like, no one was not unbroken. Like, they were all, like, Jake needed, like, Tianan sees it, like, was holding, the past was holding back. Caleb was neglected by his mother. Noah had no one to talk to because Caleb in the book doesn't speak because of his trauma of it, essentially being abandoned by his mother in a car, which was quite traumatizing. Not that that excuses Caleb's behavior, because I really do not like Caleb. I can't understand why he was so mean to Tianan, and there is some level of good in him, but I still think Caleb has a very possessive person, and it's like even Jake admits that he can't control Caleb. Like he can't. Caleb is wild, and yeah, I just don't. I don't. People say Caleb needs therapy. Yeah, he does, but I don't think it'll do any good to him. He's one of those that just won't change. At least from the book, I don't really like Caleb, but I do like Noah and Jake. I think Caleb is just the guy is no. I just do not like his character at all. I love everything about Colorado. I love when Tion stayed in Colorado. I don't know why people in the book, when they read the book, they were like, she need to leave, she need to be in Los Angeles. Like, she was gonna be so alone. Like, she had no one but one the person was Mirai, and I feel like she wasn't gonna come out of her box. She wasn't gonna come out and learn and grow and make decisions of her own, see what she wants to do. Has she not be in a place in a challenging location? Um, so for those, um, yeah. So I honestly do not would not want Tina to be in LA because she'll be all alone. She'll probably lose her mind. You don't want to be her to be in a house where her parents died as well. I know she's rich and she can go to another house, but it's just, I was so grateful that she was in Colorado and was with three other people that was not just her, because she needs to grow. She gets to meet so many people. She met, like, Terrence Holcombs, what's the other character, CC Diggins. Like, she was in a town, of course. In the winter she was kind of like excluded, but like not excluded, well, because of the snow they were essentially were the road, no, they don't get blocked out, but because of the snow it was really hard for them, for people to come in where Tiernan and her step family lives, because they essentially live in the middle of nowhere, right up in the, not in the mountains but deep in the forest. So, but I feel like it's honestly such an adventure. Like, the book, I'm not talking about the spice scenes at all. I'm talking about her meeting people, Noah, Jake, when she's doing hunting, or when she's out there doing, some sort of like camping or fishing, and she sees Noah riding the motorbike. It was such a completely different experience to what she experienced in LA. um so that's why I would give this a 4 stars. So another, I do, just to let you know, this book did have the bonus material on the in the end, so you can definitely read that. I do, one of the things is, this book, I mean, I know it's a library book, but in the first chapter they would usually have a tree, and I saw this in the online version, the ebook, or like the books online, they would have a tree, but mine doesn't, so I was a bit upset about that. Not that it was not a big thing, but I just thought I'd say that in the book, they usually have a tree for each chapter to show, but this my book doesn't, so I was quite upset about that. This was I was like, honestly, overall this was a genuine good read. I would recommend it if you can handle the taboo topics, but I do enjoy the scenes, the intense scenes I didn't really like at all. It just wasn't for me. It was just, like I said, like before, it felt forced. But I love, my favorite character is definitely Jake. He definitely brought Tion out of her comfort zone. He, and he built the life that they have, that the brothers had, that his sons have. Like, it was definitely all Jake. Like, he needed more credit in the book, in my opinion. I don't know why he was just, like, he was kind of like pushed out the minute Tion fell in love with someone that she should not fall in love with. So, yeah, honestly, I'll give this a 4 star out of 5. The only reason I give it low is because the intense scenes were not for me, and also I didn't like who she ended up with. It was so annoying. Like, I was not happy with it. I was actually so upset. He should not be with Tianan. But I don't think people are saying that Tianan was groomed. I honestly don't think she was groomed. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see the abuse of power. I couldn't see she was doing things at her own will. Like, this is after she turned 18 as well. She wanted this just as badly as they did. So, I don't know. And yeah, she was neglected, but so were the boys. And not from the father, it's from the mother's side. So they were all essentially the same boat. They all suffered one way or another some level of, like, abuse or neglect, or difficult circumstances. So I didn't feel I didn't feel like he was vulnerable, with the exception of Caleb. He was, as what they say, is like, which in the book in Noah they say Caleb is volatile, and that is the best way you could describe him. Caleb is so volatile, you really cannot tell You don't really, I don't understand his personality from the book. I didn't, like, you could, he was just really an attractive guy and that's about it. I couldn't really see him as anything more, but I do like Noah and Jake. And I do like, oh, another thing is, and when I researched about the Penelope Douglas love music, and a lot of, in her books, when there's a music reference, she literally referenced it here, and she will further music in the book during the stories when they're plugging headphones or when they're putting radio for when they're putting the music for camping or like some events. This is how music is right, and I thought that's so good. Like I find that so original. Like they're making music reference in the book and makes the book story comes to life. And I listen to this when I'm some of these songs I actually listen to when I'm reading as well. So it really brings it come to life, and I really like that. This is such that's what I'm saying, which makes the reading so much more enjoyable. I definitely recommend this if you can handle the taboo topics of her having intense love with the family. But other than that, this book is definitely worth the read. But I do recommend this to 18 plus though. So this book is like for young adults. If you're younger than this and you're reading this, you should not be reading this. You literally need to be reading looking up the age requirement for this book. For those who read this when they're younger, well, that is why you should not be reading this when you're younger. You should be reading this when you're like 18 plus, because you're old enough to deal with the mature themes of the books. For those that